I was running track and field. I thought I was superwoman, high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin. I was a heptathlete doing all the events. I just thought I was on top of the world. I had a full scholarship. And then one day I got this sharp pain in my back, so sharp that I dropped to the floor. And I was like, what was that? I thought I gotten shot. My coach was like, I'm sorry, but you're out for the season. Big elephant tears, like out for the season. I knew what happened. Like when people come out for the season, they end up losing their scholarship. They end up being replaced by another teammate. I felt like I do not belong here. What am I doing? Why am I here? And I just felt like my life, I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I want to be doing. So when it comes to overcoming adversity, like I definitely have a plaque for that. So if you're feeling like, dang it, I'm getting hit right now, everything that happens to you can be a stepping stone to the next evolved version of yourself. And so
Brendon Burchard, founder of GrowthDay, and welcome to your growth group on overcoming failures and adversity. We have Koyawebb in the house today to bring you some inspiration and practices that will help you with those inevitable times where we're all struggling with failure or adversity, and what you can do for your mindset and your habits to kind of deal with it. Because those things are often ongoing in our lives, and we just have to learn to be better at that. That's why you're here. I really appreciate you being here, working on your personal development today. If this is your first time in GrowthDay with us in a growth group, welcome. Obviously, you can see here, we've kind of built our own version of Zoom and Clubhouse right in GrowthDay. And it's not just for us. You can also start rooms and groups just like this, where you can see 30 people just like on a Zoom, or you can call people up onto stage, like I'm going to call Koya up in a minute onto stage, and you can host your groups or your conversations in GrowthDay as well. Just go to the Learn section, and you're able to start your own group anytime, a public or a private group, where you bring in 4 or 5 friends, or maybe 30 or 100, and you teach or you talk or you go around the table and you talk about personal development topics. We even give you agendas and templates to talk about confidence or family communication or motivation or goals. Tons of templates for you, so you can kind of go around the table, if you will, around the group, and have conversations about your personal development. Because in GrowthDay, we want to not only bring you amazing content and tools and community, we want you to create here and have the conversations yourself away from the bigger platforms or social media, in a place where you can take and save your notes, so that your notes across all of your personal development is in one place. How cool is that? With that, I'm going to shut up today because I'm so excited about getting into the sessions. I want to appreciate each and every one of you for being here today. I know it takes real time and commitment to work on your personal development, and so few people do that. But that you do that says that you're a leader, says you're ready for change, says that you want to be a role model. And I appreciate that during these difficult times. With that, we have Koyawebb in the house. She is one of the foremost wellness experts and teachers in the nation. She is somebody who I just love learning from, as you all know, because she always gets me centered. She always brings such good joy and energy into what we're doing in GrowthDay. She's a phenomenal teacher and speaker. You've got to make sure you go onto Instagram today at Koyawebb and give her some love for being here in GrowthDay, because she is just so good. Always DM her and tell her how much you appreciate and what you learned from here today. Make sure you share your lessons in the chat. Make sure you take some notes so it saves in your app. And with that, hey, Koya, how you doing? Your first growth group ever.
hey, Brendon, this is absolutely brilliant. Brendon is brilliant. What are you doing? This is incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is exciting, right?
Isn't it cool? Your first one. So, you all know Koya's been teaching with the GrowthDay forever, and yet this is her first time now in a group with us, like in this format. And it's so cool because, you know, we can interview people here. We can have so many great conversations. We can have, 30 people, 100 people. We got 200 people already joining this group. So it's really fun. And I think that this is going to be a whole new platform and experience for people to learn. And on this topic, Koya, they need the help. So I'll I'll shut up and I'll wait till you call me back in. Take them to church, light them up, bring in that energy. Everyone, Koya Webb, let's go.
Thank you so much, Brendan. It's just such an honor and a pleasure to be with you all. I mean, every time I do a Growth Day, now Growth Group, it's such a beautiful time to dig into my personal stories and how I've overcome. And so when it comes to overcoming adversity, like I definitely have a plaque for that because I've been through so much in my life. I shared a lot in my book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, of how I went through different adversities, and it triggered fears in myself, and I really had to stand in my power. And I feel like we all go through ups and downs, and sometimes when we're going down, it stops us. We stall, we halt. And today I'm going to take you through my 4 steps of overcoming adversity so that you have a toolbox when you hit it down, because it's guaranteed. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think it's up to us to decide if we want to allow that human experience, whatever it was, however traumatic, do we want that to stop us from being fully expressed, fully in our power, and living in our truth and purpose and making that impact we want to make? So if you're feeling like, dang it, I'm getting hit right now, dang it, Mercury is in retrograde, dang it, what is happening across the board? Know that everything that happens to you can be a stepping stone to the next evolved version of yourself. And so we're going to talk about that. So the first step is embracing. It's really embracing the failure. And I do that by just acknowledging it. Like, you know what? That didn't work out for me. And the first time that I really felt the ting or the sting of depression, which I've had depression during different stages in my life, even as a coach, like I experienced ups and downs. Like as an empath and HSP, highly sensitive person, it's really easy for me to allow the down to take me way down. But when I'm up, I'm also way up. So a lot of people that have that type of personality that can experience the high highs, but also the low lows, sometimes it can be hard to manage the low lows. But the beauty of me having those low lows is that I can use my lows to help people out of the muck. And one of my first experiences where I went low was when I was in college. And I was running track and field. I thought I was superwoman, high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin. I was a heptathlete doing all the events, slated to win the conference the next year, doing everything I thought I should be doing. I'm on a trajectory to win the conference meet. And I just thought I was on top of the world. I had a full scholarship. And then one day, after a class, I was walking back to my dorm and I got this sharp pain in my back, so sharp that I dropped to the floor. And I was like, what was that? I thought I'd gotten shot. I'd never experienced anything like this before. And I was just like, okay, this is not good. And I called my coach right away. They took me to the doctor and they were like, Koya, you have a stress fracture. And if anyone's had any back pain or back problems or a stress fracture or broken, your back is connected to your top and your bottom. It's the middle of everything. So it's like you can't get around it. And they said it's going to take time for this to heal because a stress fracture is a compounded, from long-term abuse. Basically, I'd been abusing my body, not getting enough sleep, not recovering like I was supposed to. So I had this stress fracture. My coach was like, I'm sorry, but you're out for the season. Big elephant tears, like out for the season. I knew what happened. Like when people come out for the season, they end up losing their scholarship. They end up being replaced by another teammate. And whether you've lost a job or lost like there's so many ways we can lose what we thought we had grips on. And sometimes that can be devastating. And I was devastated because this was my meal ticket. This was my way to a better life, a better education. This was my thing. And I was like, what did I do? So first I blamed myself and I was beating myself up and just being hard on myself. I know some of you are right there now. Like maybe you're beating yourself up for failing at something or getting hurt or something didn't work out the way you thought it would. But I was there doing that exact thing. And I was crying through classes. I went into a depression. And that looked like me crying unexplainably in the middle of class. And then the teacher was like, Koya, I can't have you in the class. I'm going to send you to a counselor. So I went to this counselor, and the counselor was like, I want you to try yoga. And I'm thinking, yoga? I'm a Southern Baptist girl. So I was like, I can't. I thought it was another religion. I was like, I can't worship any idol gods or anything like that. I can't. I thought that's what it was back in the day. And the teacher was like, no, it's just stretching. We all know it's more than that now. But then I was told it's just stretching. It's going to help you calm down and kind of get a grip on your emotions. And so I was like, okay, it's not like I really had a choice. So I went to this yoga class. First of all, I didn't fit in. I'm 5'11". No one there looked like me. I could do none of the poses. I cannot even touch my toes. I felt like I do not belong here. What am I doing? Why am I here? And I just felt like my life, I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I want to be doing. I'm so far from home. I feel like a fish out of water. And now I can't do the one thing that I absolutely loved and I was absolutely good at. So as I was feeling frustrated in class, the teacher came over to me and she said, I want you to just breathe. Don't focus on the poses. Don't focus on getting things right. Just breathe. And so I took this deep breath with her. And when I took that deep breath, I felt chills all over my body. I felt spirit, what I identify as spirit. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is a good feeling. I know this feeling before. And in that moment, I embraced the fact that this is my reality and I was willing to work my way through it. So with that, I wanted you all to take a deep breath with me. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Put your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your right. Take another deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. I invite you to close your eyes or gaze softly at the ground. So in this moment, no matter what you're going through, I want you to embrace this moment, not the past and not thinking about the future, but embracing this moment as we sit right here, breathing, listening, connecting, right? This is the key. Anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, anytime you're feeling frustrated, anytime you're feeling outside of love, outside of yourself, I invite you to stop and breathe. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Okay? And I want you to think about how good it feels to feel that piece of the breath in your body. Keep inhaling and exhaling and just connecting to your heart and your breath. This is the way you regulate your nervous system with your breath. This brings you back to your truth. It brings you back to who you are so that you can make decisions that are best for you. Sometimes we have to try to figure things out before we breathe, before we reflect, before we do anything else. But there are steps to getting yourself out of the darkness. And the first step is embracing it and breathing, right? Okay, so now you can blink your eyes back open. And I want you to write down one thing that came up for you. Where do you feel like there's adversity in your life, whether it be starting a new thing or relationship or maybe I know someone in my family, their sister is transitioning, so that's hard. Where do you feel like there's adversity in your life, or where do you feel like there was a failure that you're trying to overcome? Go ahead and write that down right now. I love that you can write your notes right here in Growth Day, so you can take notes. Write it there. You can save it for all your classes. You don't have to have a separate piece of paper. You don't have to do it in your phone anymore because you can save your notes right here. You can come back to them right here, and you're going to want to come back to these. So definitely write it down. And we want to really embrace whatever challenge, whatever adversity as an opportunity for growth. This is your opportunity to growth. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here in Growth Day, because you want to grow, you want to expand. So after you take that breath and after you breathe, the next important thing is to communicate and ask for what you need. So in this moment where I was running track and, not being able to have a grip on my emotions, what I needed most was support. because I was experiencing a lifestyle that I wasn't used to of not having athletics. Athletics was my best friend. It was my crutch. It was my emotional release. It was everything. So now that that shifted, I had to find new things that could help me stabilize my emotions, stabilize feeling good about life. Because in that moment, I wanted to check out. I didn't feel good about life. I was frustrated with life. I felt like, my one gift was taken away from me. And that wasn't my one gift. I was also a straight A student. I ended up graduating with a 3.8. I had other gifts, but in my mind at that moment, this was a major gift that was going to get me to where I wanted to go. Little did I know I was going to be living the life that I'm living now. But so I had to communicate. So the reason I put communicate as number 2 is because I didn't learn this in that moment. I learned this after a lot of coaching and a lot of therapy about communicating my needs. Especially when you're down, you have to communicate what you need. And to order to communicate what you need, you have to know what you need. So the first thing I did was like, okay, I don't feel good. I don't really like yoga. What is something that I like that I can do? Again, I didn't like yoga at first, and I didn't like yoga after the breath. I just said I was going to stay. I still didn't like it. I didn't like it the whole year, actually. It just helped me heal. So sometimes you have to do things you don't like, and that's part of the healing process. But in my coaching, I encourage people, if you're doing something you don't like, balance it out with something that you do like. And most people that know me know I love the water. I have a pool in my home. I love going to the ocean, and anywhere I go, if there's running water or water anywhere, I'm a happy girl. So when I was in college, I signed up for a water safety instructor class so that I can get in the water and swim. So that was part of my healing. I was doing yoga and I didn't like it. And I balanced that out with swimming. So I want you to write down right now, and I'm going to give you some time. What can you do if you've experienced adversity, or if you're just stressed out and tired? What one thing that can you do that brings you joy? What one thing can you do that brings you joy? Or what one thing can you do that's fun for you? And write that down right now in your notes. Take a walk. I love it. Music, movement. Yes, I love these answers. Yoga. It did it for me. It really did. Getting out and on a hike. Yes. Photography. Yes. So knowing your thing, that one thing that you can do, it could be 2 things. It could be 3 things. I talk about in my book, getting a love bank. And that's just a mason jar or a container, writing down like 10 to 20 things that bring you joy. It could be playing with animals, going on a hike, writing, photography, journaling, whatever it is, going on a vacation. Make sure you have some things that cost absolutely nothing and some things that might cost a dime or two, right? Because sometimes you do want to do things that are natural in nature, connecting you with nature. And then sometimes you might want to do some things that you want to save up for, right? But make sure you have both of those things. Making quilts. I love that. I haven't made a quilt in a long time. Okay. So now that you have that thing, that's going to help keep your vibration high. You need to have something that you like, especially if in order for you to heal, you got to do something you don't like or something that is painful, right? If you're in a relationship, you're like, oh, this is so hard. Well, do something you like within that relationship. Maybe go out for a date or dancing. Like in my relationship, we got to go out for date night once a week. And because I'm always traveling, he's working hard. So unless we focus on something where we're just thinking about each other and loving each other and pouring into each other, we can get totally distracted with our work. We're both building right now. So it's easy to get distracted with that. But if it's anything that you want to be successful in, that you want to nurture, that you want to grow, that you want to not fail in, because my belief, and you can write this down, is that you don't fail until you stop trying. You could be taking a break, you could be healing, but you don't fail until you stop trying. So that mindset alone really helps you release failure. Okay, so Developing a growth mindset is number 3. You want to develop a growth mindset. It's going to be hard to grow if you don't feel like you can. It's going to be hard to grow if you're letting your inner critic say, I can't do this. This is too hard. I don't have this. If you really are leaning into your limiting beliefs, which we talked about before, if you're leaning into your limiting beliefs, it's going to be hard for you to succeed. You have to turn your limiting beliefs into liberating affirmations. Right? So write that down. Write down one column of limiting beliefs and the other column of liberating affirmations. And write down right now, what are your limiting beliefs? Do you feel like you're too old, you're too young, you're not enough, you don't know enough? Like, what are your limiting beliefs attached to whatever it is you're trying to overcome or whatever adversity that you have? Yeah, we'll talk in my book, I talk about the love bank. So all you have to do is just write 10 things you enjoy and put it in a container, and every single day do one thing that brings you joy. That's going to raise your vibration, and that's part of your growth. Doing what brings you joy is part of your growth. Yep. I love seeing all the chats to the side. But right now you're writing down your limiting beliefs, and at least have 3 to 5 of them. What is that negative critic inside of your head saying that this is not good enough, that you're not good enough? Just be honest with yourself. And what my limiting belief was when I was injured was that I'm never going to heal. This is taking too long. I remember after 6 months, I thought, all right, I'm back. I'm going back on the track. I feel good. I've been doing yoga. I've been doing swimming. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's do this. And I got on the track. Day 1, I got in there. And after my first day, I felt that dull ache in my back. And I'm like, I'm not fully healed. It wasn't a sharp pain anymore. It was a dull ache. But the doctor told me if it's a dull ache, that means it's tender, but it's not fully healed yet. And I'm just like, I didn't want to admit it. I was like, no, I'm fine. But then I remembered, no, this is how the stress fracture happened in the first place, because first it was a dull ache, and then it was a sharp pain, and then the bone was cracked. So I had to sit out for an entire year, right? Because I didn't want to listen to my body. So listening to your limiting beliefs, not allowing them to be your reality, right? But listening to them can help you switch them to liberating affirmations, things that can help you heal. So now for each one, at least the first 3, I want you to write down, I want you to switch it to a liberating affirmation. So for me, mine was, I'm never going to heal. My affirmation could be, I am well in every cell and I will heal in due time, right? Yours can be whatever you want, but you really want to listen. A lot of times people say, get rid of the negative thoughts. Don't think negatively, but why? Why do you have fear? Why do you feel like you're not enough? Really dive into why these things are coming up. And if you can identify why, I felt like I wasn't going to return because it was taking so long to heal. It was taking so long for me to get there. But me worried about it and being frustrated about it was only lowering my vibration. It wasn't helping me say, you know what, no matter what, I'm getting better and I'll be back as soon as I'm ready. That made me feel empowered, right? And so when I talk about growth mindset being the key to overcoming failure, the growth mindset raises your vibration so that you can match your potential. When you have the inner critic taking over, when you have those limiting beliefs taking over, you are at a lower vibration. You're not in alignment with your truth. You're not in alignment with your purpose. And it's hard for you. It'll be harder for you, not impossible, but it'll be harder for you to move forward. And your results will come a lot slower. But if you push those limiting beliefs out the way and you lean into your liberating affirmations, then you will find yourself winning. People always ask me, when will it come? Well, the more you lean into who you truly are, your purpose, the more you surrender to the process, the sooner it will happen. I never have a timetable of when you can manifest something or when something will turn around in your life. But the more time, energy, and intention you put into anything, the sooner you will get those results that you're looking for, right? All right. Lean into the liberating affirmations. Absolutely. Okay. And so the next thing is resilience. Because it does take time, and there's no time limit on when you will get through feeling grief with someone who's transitioning your family. I have a lot of people that are experiencing grief from transitions. There's no time limit. And when I was, in this track and field situation and I went out in 6 months, it didn't happen. It didn't happen for me. I had to go back to rehab. It's almost like I had to start all over again, right? But luckily, I didn't fracture my back again if I would have stayed out there. So it took me an entire year. I lost an entire season, an entire year. Ended up being a 5-year graduate. But I did it because I learned through yoga and I learned through slowing down and using my breath that if I take care of myself, then I will heal faster than if I try to rush the process, right? So write that down. Don't rush the process. Don't rush the process, because it's in the process that you're really learning the lessons. It's in the process. That's where the juice is. That's where you're going to be able to teach your children and your community and your family. If you just want to get to the end and get to the results, this day and age, people don't learn from results because people think I can't do it. But if you're able to say, I pushed forward for this thing, and at first it didn't happen for me. I went back to the drawing board, and at first I wanted to go out, but I started training, and then I would try to go out again, and I didn't make it, so I started training again. The more that you practice resilience, which means getting back up every time you're hit. You see it happening in the boxing rings all the time. Person gets hit, they get back up, get hit, get back up, right? Over time, they're building resilience, right? And so that when it comes to failure, when it comes to adversity, if you can, one, don't let yourself get knocked out, because sometimes when we push and push and push and we're not building the muscles that we need, we get knocked out, right? Because we're not strong enough. So think of the journey, the practicing, the self-care, the journaling, the breath work, that's strengthening your mental, your spiritual, your physical muscles, so that when you come back to your job, when you come back to your relationship, when you come back to your purpose, that you're even stronger than you were when you left. And that's what happened to me. After taking this year, off, biking, swimming, doing yoga, getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, learning how to take care of myself. After that, I returned to the track to win the conference championship in the heptathlon. I returned to the track to end up being 13th in the nation in the heptathlon. I returned to the track to help my entire team win their first women's championship title. But I didn't do that trying to force myself to be ready when I wasn't ready yet. I didn't do that by returning before I had fully healed. I did that by crying and trying and getting my heart handed to me and going back to the drawing board and trying again and healing completely, and then returning, not only for me, because now I was strong enough to compete, but I gave those lessons to my team. So now my team is better because I'm like, y'all get your sleep, eat, rehab like this. This is what I did in therapy. I had my entire team benefiting from that year that I took off. So right now, I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Where is life hard right now? And I want you to think about what you're learning. Not how hard it is, but what are you learning through this difficult time? Because it's not about the adversity. It's not about the failure. It's about what you're learning along the way. Now, I want you to visualize you taking this lesson, this learning lesson, and sharing it with your friends, with your family, with your community. Just feel how good that feels. Being resilient It's about going through whatever you have to go through to get to the end result, knowing that you grow through what you go through. I'm going to repeat that. You grow through what you go through. You don't fail unless you stop trying. And as long as you're pouring into yourself day after day, as long as you're doing what you need to do to grow and expand, you are on the right track. It's not about how fast you get back. The thing is, when you get back, do you have the lessons that you learn to take with you, to share with your friends, your family, your community? That's what life is about. It's not about being the best, the fastest, the richest, the most accomplished. No, it's about love. It's about being love. It's about loving others. If I ask most people here, what is your purpose? A lot of our purpose surrounds impact and community, right? Doing something purposeful with our life, service. Well, the biggest way you can serve and make impact is to share the lessons that you've learned, not just your successes, because most people, the next question is, how did you get there? You know? So if you're writing down the lessons, you're writing down how hard it was, you're writing down how you felt, you're journaling and taking notes, that is what's really going to help not only yourself in the future when you meet another challenge, which is basically guaranteed, but it's also going to help those people around you who look up to you, who are inspired by you. So don't forget the lessons. And that is what creates a resilient person. Thank you all for taking notes. If you want to see the notes, just look at the chat and then write those notes down in your notes. And so now that we have like kind of the 4 steps to overcoming adversity, I invite you to think about one person right now that you want to share, anything. Like I said, a lot of stuff, but I want you to think about one thing that you want to share that really was a nugget for you that you want to share, because maybe you already knew it, but you heard it again and you heard it in a way that, oh man, that created an aha for me. Like I really want to share that. And whether you share it on social media, whether you share it with a friend, your family, your community, you share it at work, just know, no matter what you're going through, if you focus on how you can share now, how you can serve now, how you can give the lessons while you're still in it. You might not be out of it. And you might feel like, well, who am I? I'm still trying to figure things out. Well, guess what? We're all still trying to figure things out. I was trying to figure out GrowthDay this morning because it changed platforms, And so just remember that you're not alone. You're always going to be figuring things out, and it's okay to share. It's okay to teach if you're in the middle of figuring out, because that's the time where you're really going to have all the juicy lessons for people. Sometimes we forget what we went through when we reach the end. We're just like, yeah, I was there and I did it. Well, great. But how do we share with other people how they can do it as well? So I'm really excited. I know Lisa is coming to talk next in a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions, you can put them over to the chat. If it had a good takeaway for you, if you got a good takeaway, then go ahead and share that in the chat. I know some people have already been sharing as well. And yeah, you can find me at koyawebb.com. Also, a lot of you have a copy of my book, but if you don't have a copy of my book, it's Let Your Fears Make You Fierce: How to Turn Common Obstacles into Seeds for Growth. You can get that anywhere books are sold. And I just have a lot of worksheets and quizzes and these things that you can go through to help you grow and expand. Hi, Brendan.
What's up, Koya? Oh my gosh. Thank you for that session. And thank you for the real examples too, because, sometimes it's so easy to talk about this philosophically, but when your health is at stake, or your scholarship or your future, it's so easy to feel those exact emotions and face those same obstacles you covered. So this was an awesome session. You all give Koya a huge round of applause and share in the chat. What was some of the takeaways you had? What was something you resonated with? Because believe it or not, she, just like me, we geek out about this. This is how we get our feedback from you. This is what we see and what we learn, what you share here in the chat. And then what you DM us on Instagram, it's kind of how so much of our content is structured based on what you guys are always sharing, what you're learning, what you're liking. And it's so important. And Koya, oh my gosh, you're such a gift to this Growth Day community, to all of us. I loved this session. So dang good, Koya.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the comments. I always read my comments that you all leave for me. So thank you for giving me your feedback. It helps me grow and expand. Like someone commented, like, I love to see your growth through doing these growth days. And it really has been a growth and expansion for me as a teacher and a leader, coming up with these topics, really learning to weave in my personal story and learning how to be a great speaker. So thank you all for being part of how I'm growing and expanding as well.
And I want to echo that, because if someone said that, because I have that same feeling and sense. It's like your ability to teach just continues to evolve in such an impactful way. And everyone already knows, like, you're one of already my favorite teachers. So it's like every single time, like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that today. Someone also shared in the chat, just, breathing with purpose and reframing some things is the central idea that I think could really solve like 50% of our internal dilemmas in life. So good. So good. Thank you, Koya.